Hey everybody, it's Miss Smith. So today we're going to talk about significant figures and why this is even necessary, because especially when you get to college and you got a professor talking about significant figures or significant digits, it's so frustrating, but what happens is it becomes completely necessary, especially when you're in chemistry lab in college, because it determines whether you're accurate enough. Because if you're not accurate, you literally can blow things up in a chemistry lab, which is not good. So significant figures are extremely important. So today I'm going to teach you how to identify significant figures. Tomorrow you'll be able to do math functions with significant figures, because each math function has its own rule. But today I'm just going to teach you how to identify them. So let's go to our notebook, and I'm going to create a new page. You should be writing this down as well. So I'm going to say pencil. Okay. Identify, or ID, identifying significant figures. All right. Now, I've got a couple of rules here, and any number, so we're trying to figure out which numbers are significant. That's the whole point of this. Which ones are significant? Do I count it? Do I not count it? That's what we're trying to decide. So any number 1 through 9, always significant. Okay, what's in question and what people struggle with the most are the zeros. Which ones are significant and which ones are not? Okay, so we've got 3 different cases of types of zeros that you may encounter. So type number 1 is called a sandwiched zero. I feel like I spelled sandwich wrong. There's a reason why I don't teach English. Is that right? Whatever. Sandwich, I think it's 1H. I think I was right the first time. Okay, whatever. It's called a sandwich zero. Okay, now sandwich zeros are always significant. All right, for example, this is sandwiched between 2 significant numbers. So that 0 is significant. So we're going to identify this as 3 sig figs. Sig fig stands for significant figures. All right, type number 2 that you will encounter are called leading zeros. And those are never significant. Never. Okay, for example, okay, these zeros up front are called leading zeros. They never, ever, 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 ever count. All they are just placeholders that are not actually doing anything, okay, as far as accuracy, okay? So those never count. So this number only has 3 significant figures. All right, and type number 3 are ending zeros. Now this is the one that's a little bit harder. Okay, so we've got 2 different situations with ending zeros. If you have a decimal, it is significant. If you do not have a decimal, it is not significant. Okay, for example, okay, I have a decimal physically written down in my number. So that means that these ending zeros at the end count. So this is 4 sig figs. Now, another example would be something like this. I do not have a decimal physically written down, so that is only 1 significant figure. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I want you to write these in your notebook, and I want you to try to see if you can identify how many significant figures you have in each of these. So after I write these down, go ahead and write these down in your notebook too. These are great scenarios to figure out are they significant or not. Okay, and then I've got one like super crazy one here. See if we can figure out how many that one has. All right, so go ahead and pause the video. I want you to try these out. All right, so let's start with the first one. So the first one, that falls under the case of ending zeros. These are ending zeros. Now, I do not have a decimal physically present, so that means that these zeros do not count. So that is 1 sig fig. All right, now this one, I do have a decimal physically present, which means any ending zero is significant. So that is 4 significant figures. All right, the next one, I have a decimal physically present, so that means that any ending zero is significant. So that's 4 significant figures. The next one, these two zeros are sandwiched zeros. They always count, so that's 4 significant figures. The next one, I have a decimal physically present, but these are sandwiched zeros, so sandwiched zeros always count anyway, so these are also 4 significant figures. And then this one here, all 3 of these are leading zeros, and leading zeros never count, so that's 1 sig fig. All right, let's talk about the challenge question. Now, I've got all 3 types of zeros in here. So these 3 are leading. They never count. They don't ever count, okay? All 3 of these are numbers 1 through 9, so they count, yes, yes, yes. These 2 are sandwich zeros. Okay, they always count. This is a number 1 through 9, so that one counts. And these are ending zeros with a decimal somewhere in the number. Okay, here's my decimal here. There it is right there. So yes, these 2 count as well. So total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 sig figs. Okay, so you do have a worksheet to do today and a little quiz. I sure hope that this lesson was nice and quick. Sure hope you got it. So let me know if you have any questions. You know where to find me.